I think we have a long way to go. I think that we need to really, as a Democratic Party, as progressives, like figure out like what do we really want to be? I think this sort of moderate thing is really like not that moderate, and it's not really working for most of us.
So before the break, we were talking about the impact of this election. So, as of the taping of this podcast, Donald Trump has not conceded. What are your overall thoughts on the election? How did it make you feel seeing what the results were? What was this moment like for you?
I feel like it was really disorienting in a lot of ways. We had massive turnout on both sides, which inevitably is great. Like, you want people to vote, you want people to be engaged in the civic process and in the political process. So that's great. Just kind of shocking numbers. I guess I shouldn't be shocked by white people. Nothing we do should really shock anyone. But I'm shocked by the amount of voting not in your best interest and not aligned with your best interest. So that was disappointing. I mean, I think from Trump, it's just, this is him. There is no plan. There is no he's a mad genius in a particular kind of way on social media and just the bluntness of his message. But there's no grandmaster plan. He doesn't want to lead. He doesn't want to govern. He's sort of an authoritarian, but in an untraditional sense. It's just like, I don't really care what happens, just as long as I have power and I have money, and the people around me do. But honestly, I don't think he really cares. He would throw Ivanka under the bus in a minute. If it really came down to it, I think he would do anything to save himself. So that part is wild. I mean, all the other Republican senators and congresspeople and representatives, I think, have shown who they really are. I think we should give them no grace whatsoever. This is like, honestly, the decision was made in 2012 and 13 and 14 and 15 and particularly 16, where it's like, that was the moment that you had to say what kind of person you were and what kind of ideals and things that you support, and what's your base as a human being. Not right now. So I don't want to hear anything from anybody right now who is previously supported. We knew that he said who he was, and we knew this man. So that's disappointing, to see what is happening in the country, especially with coronavirus, and see how many people are hurting. We can't pass a stimulus check. People, are dying because they don't have health care. All these things. It's just like absurd to see the cruelty. And then even with, I think it's incredible, Biden and Harris, particularly Harris, being the first Black woman, the first Asian woman, being the first woman, that's just amazing. There is progress being made, and I think that we should cheer for that. But I think we have a long way to go. I think that we need to really, as a Democratic Party, as progressives, figure out what do we really want to be? I think this sort of moderate thing is really not that moderate, and it's not really working for most of us, and certainly not working for people of color. It's certainly not working to address the wealth gap and education and all of this. I feel like we're at the later stages of all of these institutional failures that we've just sort of ignored for decades and decades and decades. And we're at this point where half the country believes wholeheartedly in conspiracy theories and half the country doesn't. And I'm like, that's a product of the failure of our education system at large. People should have a much better ability to critical think from the education that we've received in this country, and we just don't. Nicole Hannah-Jones said in a tweet, and I say it 6 times a week: we are not a nation of critical thinkers, and that we're getting to this point where any conspiracy theory can be floated, and people just feel comfortable believing it. I'm going on a tangent a little bit, but I feel disoriented because I think we put so much effort and energy and our lives into the election. And I think now that Biden and Harris have won the election, now we're like, oh, damn, we have so much work to do. And it's going to be hard because people are tired, and we have COVID fatigue, and they're stressed out, and it's going to get worse, and we're going into winter and all of those things. But I think we just need to maybe take a little break and recharge or something. But yeah, it's I feel a little weird right now.
was there any part of you uh, that wanted to tweet? I don't know if you did. Maybe you did, and I missed it. But considering that the president had a lot to tweet about you, I think it was last year too. God, last year feels like 35 years ago. A lot to tweet about you and saying you should win first and all this other dumb shit. Was there a part of you that had a tweet in drafts that you like, I would really,
I'm gonna pull it up.
Oh, yes, I knew it.
I'm gonna pull it up. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I had to say something. I'm like, I love being petty.
You have
to. Petty.
This was your moment. Anybody that he attacked, I felt like I certainly took my moment, not necessarily directed specifically at him, but at a lot of his supporters who have been sending me threats and hate mail for like literally 3 or 4 years now. I'm like, okay, middle finger to the sky to all of y'all. So it's just like that. So what was your tweet?
Yeah. I did. So I had the video of me saying, I'm not going to the fucking White House. And then I said, update, I can't get to the fucking White House fast enough now.
That's what I'm talking about.
I had to. I have drafted so many of, across these last, like, whatever, year and a half or however long it's been. And I'm just like, you know what? Wait for your moment where Petty Betty can live her full best life. And this was it. I had to. And I almost don't even want to, because it's like, then it just, you're putting him back in the conversation. But I was like, I just had to throw up the, like, I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, well, and I feel like you're owed another one, because the day he actually has to leave, like where you see that long exit out the White House, oh, trust me, I got about 6 tweets ready in the draft.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely like, you about to lose your job. You about to lose. Someone put up her Venmo. Like, obviously the woman, I hit that Venmo. I was like, here you go. I owe you. We all owe you for this. No, it is. I feel like we got to like keep, we got to keep the joy and like keep our humor a little bit in all of it. And it's been so just not funny the whole time. So I was like, if we can just get a little petty dig in, like, I think it's fine.
Yeah, a lot of people are owed. Well, yeah. You do have an incredible amount of joy in your life, in the sense that you are, again, now engaged. So I need to hear the full story. How did this happen? Did you see it coming? All those particular details.
Yeah. So I actually proposed to Sue, but I don't think either of us saw it coming. So it was like, ooh. I think in typical Megan form, like, I had been thinking about it a lot, definitely a lot this year. I mean, I feel like in one way it was just so amazing to be able to spend the time that we did together during quarantine. We would have never spent this time. We travel all the time. We're all over the world. Like, we just, in a normal life, we're on planes every week and doing all these things. So I was really thankful for that. And it just like solidified everything that, I felt for her. And so I had been thinking about it, but I didn't really have a plan, like a specific, like, I'm going to walk you out to this area, whatever. We took a little vacation with a few of our friends right after Sue got out of the bubble. She turned 40. A couple of our other friends turned 40. But I like didn't have a ring. I didn't really like have a plan. But we were in this beautiful place, and I just kind of thought, like, the moment just sort of struck. We were in the pool. I was kind of like laying on the ledge, and I think she's like sort of swam over and either kissed me or something. And one of our other friends was like, "Oh, is this a proposal?" We were a couple deep. It was deep in the afternoon. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm around like all these people who we all love. We're in a beautiful place. And it just was one of those things, like, I feel like, why wait any longer? I was like, I can get the ring later. I wear a ton of rings all the time, a bunch of just gold bands. So I took one off my finger, put it on hers. And it was one of those moments where, like, our friends kind of knew what was going on, but they really didn't. And it like took everyone by surprise. So while there was no like actual plans, I had kind of been tooling around
thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. So I was like, this is very us. This is very me, in the way that, like, I'll just, kind of spring it on you, but I've been preparing for a while.
Oh, wow. So, have you bought a ring since, or?
I haven't yet. I'm I'm in the R&D sort of section. I'm like, what do I want? What is she going to wear? She's like pretty understated and low key, something that she can wear all the time. I have a few of my friends who have like a couple of different rings, like just a band for when they're messing around or whatever, and then have like some fancier stuff. So I might go that route. And maybe do like one nice and one just sort of every day. But I don't know. That seems kind of wild too.
Were you at all nervous?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Cause like I felt totally solid in us, but then there's always the like, what if she doesn't want to? Like, what if I've read the room wrong for 4 years? No. But I felt pretty good about it. I felt pretty good about it, but I just wanted to make sure that the moment was like special for her, and that's what like she wanted. I wasn't gonna like take her out in front of a baseball game or something. That would be wild.
Thank you for not doing the sports proposal.
Oh God.
The Jumbotron, thank you for not doing that. I think that's the worst thing ever.
Thank God. People do that, and I'm like, listen, everybody needs to, do whatever makes them happy, but I'm like, oh gosh, that seems very stressful and like just too much. There's too many strangers involved for that.
Definitely. So I know it's probably difficult because we are still in the pandemic and we don't really know when we're coming out of it, but have you guys been able to even preliminarily think about how you might want your wedding to be and where you might want it to be, or any of the details you've been able to work through any?
I mean, definitely post-COVID, because I would feel like socially irresponsible to do anything like during COVID. And even the people that have done it, the hoops that you have to jump, it's like, it's hard enough to plan this in and of itself. And then to do it, you got testing and masks and where are we and are we traveling and all these things. I have a big family and we have tons of friends. And so that I think we're just going to go post-COVID. I think I would like to do a destination type maybe, and like do a long one, like a week long kind of thing where we can actually like see people and do the whole thing. I mean, like a 1-day wedding is amazing. It's beautiful. It's such a fun night, but it goes by so fast for, the people who get married and for all the guests and everything. It's just kind of over in a flash. So anything for like an excuse for a week long vacation too seems smart.